So we're going to start off with our mayor, Janet Cowell. Janet is our elected mayor in 2024. She is originally from Memphis, Tennessee. She has called Raleigh home for 30 years, or for over 30 years. Janet has previously served 15 years as an elected office as a Raleigh City Councilor, NC State Senator, and North Carolina's first female treasurer, where she managed over $100 billion in assets and nearly $1 million in public employees retiring. That's great. Before becoming mayor, she had led the Dix Park Conservancy, in which she was the president and CEO and raised over $40 million for major park projects. Janet holds degrees from the University of Pennsylvania and the Walton School of Business. She is a driven, lifelong, committed, and connected to communities and fostering civic engagement. So please give it up for Mayor Cowell.
Thank you, Grady, and welcome to everyone here. The Community Engagement Department, came up with this concept of hosting this event, and I think it just shows that we've got a lot of dedicated city staff that do really care about all of the citizens, how you interact with the city, and trying to spread this information so that you can connect with each other as well as connecting with staff. I know, having lived here, as Grady said, for almost 30 years, just how great a community we have. There are so many of you have been dedicated to volunteer work for years. I was talking to Helen, we were involved in the Sierra Club back in the late 90s. And then Diane, sitting next to her, is a new resident here who's just learning the ropes, right? But whatever the case, I'm just so glad that you are here learning more about the city, learning more about the needs and challenges and celebrations, the good things, and how you can get involved. And I know there are 20 departments here, so I hope you've had a chance to get to know. There's so many new ones that I think are exciting, like stormwater, which may not sound like the most glamorous area to be involved in, but they're doing so much great work on green infrastructure, storm erosion. Y'all know we've had a lot of flooding and storms recently, so that is a major issue across the city. And I think it's one where citizen engagement resident engagement could make a huge difference just on that issue alone. I know we also have solid waste here. Another issue, just talking about some of the exciting things you may not have heard about, is looking at a composting pilot. That is something, too, when you think about the amount of food that gets wasted. You also think about the cuts in the federal government programs for food assistance. And so that seems like a natural to how do we save more food so that it can get in the hands of children, families that need it, as opposed to going into a landfill. So, whatever topic you pick, there's a way to get involved as a resident. So, again, just want to thank all of you for what you do to make Raleigh a better city, and excited to celebrate this second year, and I'm sure this will go on for many more to come. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Cowell. So now we got an opportunity to be truly blessed to hear from our keynote speaker. Dr. Valencia Hicks Harris is the executive director and founder of Empower All Incorporated. This boasts over 13 years of expertise in elementary and STEM education. She is one of the first 2 graduates in educational equity doctoral program at NC State University. She's a trailblazer dedicated to diversifying teachers' pipeline, increasing representation in STEM, and addressing mental health crisis facing our youth, and ensuring equitable education for all students. She is an educator that has taught both elementary and STEM education for over 12 years in the Wake County Public School System. Her doctoral dissertation focused on educational equality and equity. Her educational career experience is fueled and driven by the diversity of teachers' pipeline and pushing culturally relevant and standards and increasing the presence of students of color in STEM, and has created equitable education for all students. So please put your hands together for Dr. Valencia Hicks Harris.
First, I want to tell Grady, thank you. I know that was a mouthful, and I am finished with school. So, good afternoon. Thank you so much to the City of Raleigh. Thank you to the McKimmon Center. Thank you to neighbors, friends, and family for letting me be in this space with you today. It's Saturday. It's busy. The weather is beautiful. And yet you are here showing up for Raleigh, showing up for one another. That deserves a little noise, so go ahead and give yourself a round of applause and cheers, whatever feels right to you. Now I want to set the tone with some energy. When you hear the music, I would like for you to do me a favor. You will look to your left, you will look to your right, maybe you will look across the table and smile at the person looking back at you, because this morning we are not warming up, we're jumping all the way in to show what community really looks like. This is what one community across many generations looks like, raising together our children in neighborhoods full of elders, youth, mentors, dreamers, and doers, all standing or sitting in the same place. Because today isn't just about hearing words, it's about feeling connected. It's about honoring where we've been and imagining where we can go. It's about recognizing that whether you've been here for 80 years or 8 months, you matter, you belong here, you make this city home. So as we continue to move throughout the space today, we're going to move like you know that you are part of something bigger. Move like someone is looking to you for hope. Move like you know in your bones, I am Raleigh, one community, many generations. All right, here's a warning. I am a proud native who lives in Southeast Raleigh. I eat, sleep, work, and breathe this work. So right here in Raleigh, North Carolina, I feel like I have the privilege and the ability to speak straight from the heart and speak plainly. So for over the next 30 minutes or so, you will hear me reference some of my favorite songs, a few oldies but goodies. You'll hear me let you all know that the greatest title that I hold is Mom. And it is that title that gives me the juice and the fuel to rise each day. You will hear personal stories and quickly recognize that I am proud of the legacy that my family has laid. I will share some undeniable truths, and I may even use some language that makes my heart race and could risk everything that I have building over the past few years. But I will never waver on my beliefs. I will never waver on my values, and I will continue to fight for educational equity for all children and community well-being. Here's my challenge to you all this afternoon. Show up for one another, share resources, amplify each other's wins, and build some everyday routines where schools, families, and neighborhoods move as community. One final warning. My biggest cheerleaders are in the room. That's my family sitting over here. So they may smile, they may cry, they may clap louder than anyone. And if you hear a buzz, that's probably my mom's phone ringing, because my brothers, my hype squad, they're probably checking in to make sure that I am bringing some heat. You'll probably hear another beep, and it's probably my dad's monitor, meaning that he should not have drank that Coca-Cola while he was eating his lunch today. All righty. So let's get started. Before, I have been asked to talk or to speak on one community across many generations. But let's set the stage by defining community. Before we explore the Raleigh framework, here is what community means. Community isn't just a zip code or a mascot. It's people and place and purpose in motion across generations. A thriving community is belonging made visible. Everyone is seen, safe, and invited to contribute. Interdependence, where we rise because we are connected, not despite it. Care and accountability. Love with standards, support and follow through. Past, present, and future braided. Elders' wisdom, today's action, tomorrow's promise. It's not just a calendar of events, it's a practice. It's not uniformity, it's unity with difference. It's not helping them, it's building with us. Before we implement programs or policies, we begin with visioning, the cognitive and cultural work of imagining what belonging, access, and joy look like for all of us. Imagination isn't abstract. It's the engine of change. It's where we challenge these old paradigms and design what's possible for our learners, for our families, and for our city. This brings me to the first principle in my Raleigh framework. R, roots. One city, many roots. I was born into a family here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Growing up in a place I have always called home meant I knew who I was and where I came from the start, and the responsibility of honoring a good name. In 1970, my parents married, high school sweethearts from Ligon High School, bringing together two prominent black families, the Hickses and the Malones. I'm the youngest of four children. My father served in the city of Raleigh for more than 30 years, and my mother a dedicated educator here in Wake County or Raleigh City Schools for over 48 years. I share this because it is their service and our family's legacy. It's almost impossible for me to go anywhere in Raleigh without meeting someone who knows our name. To be honest, I always hear stories like, my father gave me my first job, or your father pushed me to be the person I am today. Or I hear, your mom was my teacher, or she was my child's teacher, or that she paved the way for me to go into schools and to become the person I am today. Or they'll say, you sound just like your mom, and I can still hear her sweet voice ringing in my ear. That's what roots feel like in real time. Elders who carry memory and meaning and momentum. Think about the family cookout and how it turns into a classroom. How when auntie claps and the cousins line up, the floor becomes a history lesson. The electric slide was choreographed in 1976 by Rick Silver. But our seniors still keep it alive, step by step, passing rhythm and remembrance from hand to hand. Place is part of those roots. In Southeast Raleigh, John Chavis Memorial Park opened on July 4th, 1937, with a WPA support as a hub for Black Raleigh. Its Allen Herschel, the carousel, was installed on July 2nd, 1937, and it still spins. In 1938, the community named it John Chavis, a free black educator and Revolutionary War veteran. In the late 1950s and 60s, local resident Roy Hicks, my grandfather, ran concessions at the grandstand, creating jobs for our neighborhood youth, serving those famous good old hot dogs. The park was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 2016 and remains as a living archive where our stories breathe. What are roots? The literal definition is the system that anchors life, draws nutrients, stores energy, connects to a wider network. As a metaphor, it is the people, the places, the stories, the values that ground us. Elders' wisdom, origin histories, cultural practices, land ties, faith and civic institutions, and the relationships that hold it all together. Why do roots matter, you might ask? Grounding and identity. They give us belonging and a clear who we are. Guidance, standards, and stories and lessons that shape our choices. Resource flow, the knowledge, opportunity, and care moving across generations. Continuity and legacy, preserving what's worth keeping and passing it forward. Orientation, keeping the mission drift in check, aligning action with core values. Healing and accountability, naming past harms, honoring truths, and committing to repairing. Bridge building, linking neighborhoods and schools and families into one fabric. Narrative power, shaping the story we tell about ourselves with pride and purpose. That's roots, not just where we're from, but what we stand on. Not just history, but an inheritance and instruction. This is the work and this is the why. Area code 919. North Carolina, come on and raise up. Petey, you like that, right? You didn't know I had vocals. Petey Pablo's anthem isn't just a hook, it's a homing signal. When the beat drops, heads nod in barbershops, from barbershops to boardrooms, from Friday night lights to Sunday, more than digits. It's a call sign that says we belong to each other. Back before we started swapping contact information by scanning a QR code, a phone number told a story. Someone would share their number and you'd ask almost instantaneously, oh, you must be from blank. Let's try it. 704 336 252 or wide awake Wilson. Area codes are still shorthand for a place, a memory, and community. And here, 919 is the thread that ties us across neighborhoods and ages. Next Friday, September 19th, matters. Why? It's 919 Day, a perfect day to name who we are and where we're from, identity and pride stitched across our city. What 919 means here, it means identity, a way to say that this is home, no translation needed. Pride, a banner we wear across sports, stages, and service. Proximity, our zip codes may differ, but our area is one. Permission, a standing invitation to show up for each other. When we say 919, we're not dialing a number, we're dialing each other in. Legacy, the inheritance we carry forward. I measure Raleigh by the miles on East Street. As a child, I walked from my grandparents' house to Po' Boy's, a grocery store that is now apartments. I walked my grandmother to her doctor's office, which is today Transfer Food Hall, and to the dentist, which is now a local bar. Our house always seemed to be full of quarters. And as a kid, I thought, man, we must be rich. Like rich. We don't ever run out of quarters until I learned that my dad, on top of his City of Raleigh job, owned a laundromat on East Street, which is today a yoga studio and wellness center. Places change, but the stories stay. We still spend weekends at Chavis Park. My son plays football where my parents first met. My grandfather was the concessionaire there, so when my dad was selling cotton candy or hot dogs and popcorn in the family, my mother walked up and, as my dad said, with 2 braided pigtails. That's our origin scene, a love story of labor and laughter all in one frame. When I pass certain buildings in downtown Raleigh, I lay my hand on the brick. My grandfather and uncles, great uncles, built those walls. They set the foundation and the mortar, and the home I live in now, it was built by my grandfather and great uncles for their baby brother, the late Vernon Malone. Legacy isn't abstract to me, it's address, muscle memory, and mortar lines. What does legacy mean here? Places as an archive, East Street as a timeline, the grocer, apartments, clinic, food hall, dentist, bar, laundromat, wellness center. Work as witness, public service by day, entrepreneurship by night, coins in the jars, lessons of hustle and dignity. Parks as portals. Chavis isn't just a park, it's our family's opening chapter and our weekly halftime show. Bricks as biography. Buildings hold fingerprints. Crafts passed down, futures built up. Legacy isn't nostalgia, it's navigation. The map of our elders drew so the next generation knows where we stand and how to move. E, education and entertainment. Cue Minnie Riperton's Back Down Memory Lane, because that's how Raleigh feels to me. I see the happiness and I see the pain. I see how classrooms and stages have always braided our story. I'm a Raleigh native from a long line of educators. As a product of Wake County Public School System, a former Wake County Public School System educator, and now a Wake County Public School System parent, in my family, our hands are outstretched, one arm in education and the other in service that becomes entertainment. WCPSS, how our school system became one. In 1976, Raleigh City Schools and Wake County merged to form Wake County Public School System, a county-wide commitment to shared opportunity and integration. At the forefront of that transition was my uncle, the late Vernon Malone, who helped steer the merger and chair the first unified board. That decision still shapes how we learn and how we lead. Today, Wake County Public School System is the largest district, serving over 160,000 students across over 200 schools. Who pays the in-state tuition? Our homegrown college pipeline. Across the UNC system, the vast majority of first-year seats go to North Carolina residents. Thanks to the out-of-state enrollment caps, often 18 to 25% depending on the campus. Translation, many of our graduates study at in-state tuition rates because they live in North Carolina. A huge number start right here at Wake Technical Community College before transferring. Classrooms and stages equate to one ecosystem. Our campuses, North Carolina State University, Shaw University, St. Augustine College, William Peace, Meredith, and Wake Technical Community College. Our libraries and museums, North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences, North Carolina Museum of History, North Carolina Museum of Art, parks and venues, Marbles, Pullen Park, Chavis Park, Lincoln Theater, Walnut Creek, City Plaza, and the list goes on. Memory lane to the music lane. You've heard me already tell the story of Chavis Park. Now, walk with me to Lincoln Theater, formerly Gillies, which was owned by the late Roy Hicks, my uncle. I remember the wraparound bar, the swings, the stage, a space intentionally created so folks could eat, could dance, and enjoy live entertainment, among the first in town to host happy hours. That room held neighborhood stories, first jobs, first songs, the place where service met stage and learning sounded like life. In Raleigh, the lecture hall teaches the standards and the live stage teaches the heartbeat. And together they carry us back down memory lane so we know how to move forward. Interstate 40, or I-40, the connective spine moving people, stories, and resources across Raleigh. Cue the hum of I-40 because that's how Raleigh moves me. Side note, I have probably purchased 6 tires and received 2 patches this year because of the nails in my tire. Imagine the conversation between me and my husband when I call him to tell him that my tire light has come on yet again. I'm like, I promise you that I am not intentionally driving across nails. Now, curves, that might be a different story, but I digress. It's more than concrete and traffic. It's the living arterial connecting neighborhoods and schools and communities. Many of us, myself included, have ridden the ribbon to work, back home, out on vacation, or simply to feel the breeze. During COVID, my family did exactly that. Windows down, breathing in the air, and remembering that we are still moving forward. For families, I-40 is the route to school, ball games, churches, and everyday life. For students, it's a pathway to opportunity, leading to campuses, internships, and experiences that shape their futures. And for our city, it's how ideas and resources and culture flow east to west, north and south. This focus on connection has always been part of Raleigh's design. The first 8 streets in downtown Raleigh, like Hillsborough Street, Edenton Street, Wilmington, and Fayetteville, were named for North Carolina cities, many of which had served as temporary state capitals. That's the original grid of Raleigh in movement, history, and shared identity. Just like the interstate, Raleigh itself is a network of movement and exchange. People bring their stories, their skills, their traditions, and their dreams with them as they travel. The roads we build are not just physical, they are symbolic of the connections that we nurture. I-40 reminds us that Raleigh's strength lies in how we move together, carrying those stories, building bridges between communities that might otherwise feel apart. In Raleigh, I-40 doesn't just move cars, it moves possibility. Our strength is how we travel together, bridging neighborhoods and building futures so that no one makes the journey alone. G, generational wealth. The assets we pass forward, homes, small businesses, skills, networks, and civic know-how. Generational wealth isn't only about money in the bank. It's the houses that hold our families, the small businesses that anchor our neighborhoods, the skills and the trades at the kitchen tables or the barber chairs, the network that opens doors, and the civic know-how that keeps us engaged in shaping our future. In Raleigh, you can see the corner store run by 3 different generations. In teachers whose former students now bring their children to the same school doors, in church pews where wisdom is passed alongside of faith, and in neighborhoods associations that fight to keep communities strong. Here is my own story. I worked tirelessly to carry forward the legacy, the education, and the entrepreneurial spirit that was instilled in me, so that I can pass them on to my own son. My hope is that he will then pass it on to his own family one day. I labor in education. I labor in nonprofit work. I labor in service to others. And to be honest, there are days when I wake up and I feel exhausted and I feel defeated. When I drive through Raleigh and I see what used to be, I feel a deep pressure to fight for the bits and pieces of history that deserve to be remembered and maintained. New buildings and innovative designs bring me joy, but seeing buildings removed and neighborhoods changed can make my heart race. This year, I watched the documentary on Hurricane Katrina and visited New Orleans multiple times. The devastation in the lower Ninth Ward took my breath away. And it made me think about Raleigh's Fourth Ward, where my parents and grandparents and friends and families once lived, where my home church once stood and still stands in my memory. Why mention this? Because generational wealth is more than being about assets. It's about an inheritance of a story, a place. All of us in these rooms, in this room specifically today, are part of a family, part of a lineage. We want what is best for our family, for our people, and we want to pass on our history, our stories, and our labor so that our children and their children and children's children and children's children's children and on are not starting from zero, but from a foundation that we built together. Generational wealth here is both tangible and intangible. Equity in a home, but also equity in opportunity. It's about knowing how to vote and how to advocate, to build credit and build community, to dream bigger than the circumstances we were born into. In Raleigh, generational wealth is the bridge between memory and momentum. What we carry forward so the next generation starts a few steps ahead. H, home. The City of Oaks. That's Raleigh's longtime nickname, oak lined streets and a green canopy that still shades our neighborhoods. Those oaks remind us of what home really means. Roots that run deep, branches stretched wide, strength passed from one generation to the next generation. By definition, home is the place where one lives, especially as being part of a family or a household. In Raleigh, a home is more than an address. It's belonging woven into everyday life. Neighbors who look out for one another, familiar faces in the grocery store, and the stories held inside of our schools, inside of our churches, and inside of small businesses. It's the iconic staples that tell me I'm truly home. I cannot drive past Krispy Kreme when the red light is on because that lets me know the donuts are hot. The best burgers in Raleigh are where? On Hillsborough Street at Char Grill. Pair one of those with an apple turnover and I tell you I've got a 5-star meal. Those little rituals and the hot glazed donuts and a Char Grill stop are a taste of Raleigh, the everyday reminders that I belong here. In every community, everyone has a place and everyone can make a difference. Seniors embody the rich history and wisdom of our neighborhoods, carrying forward traditions and lessons learned. Younger generations bring fresh ideas, creativity, and purpose that move us toward the future. Together, we are a living fabric, threads of memory intertwined with innovation, stronger because each and every one of us contributes. In the City of Oaks, Raleigh is our home. When each of us, again, those elders and youth and everyone in between, claims our place and offers our gifts, we don't just live, we belong here. We build here. We thrive here together. One community, many generations. When we call Raleigh home, we don't just name a place. We claim a people. I felt it. An elder's story that held the weight of history, a neighbor's hand that steadied my life when life was heavy, a young voice full of ideas stretched us towards tomorrow. They weren't invisible. They just hadn't been given a mic, and neither have many of us. But here we are, rooted like oaks, rising like branches, carrying that memory, and you should know by now, momentum. Each of us holds a story, a block, a reason why we keep showing up for this city again and again and again. Because the work of community is not for the faint of heart. It takes roots grounded in deep legacy. It takes resilience to weather storms and rebuild when things are torn down. It takes responsibility to love this city, enough to fight for it, to nurture it, to pass it on stronger than we found it. So here's your call. You might be a little sleepy because you just ate, but stay with me. Keep remembering, keep rebuilding, keep reaching. Let your neighborhood be a place where history is not erased, it's honored. Where new ideas are not feared, they are embraced. Where no one is left behind because everyone belongs here. We do not need permission to build Raleigh's future. We just need each other. So take what you felt here today, take the pride, take the urgency and the love, and carry it back to your streets, your schools, your churches, your businesses, and your neighborhoods. Because the Raleigh of tomorrow is already being written in your stories, in your service, and in your strength to show up as family, as one community. Well, Raleigh, we are one community, many generations. And as the OJs remind us in family reunion, it's so nice to see you, all you folks here together. We get to share these precious moments. That's Raleigh. That's home. 9-1. Thank you.